And now, from 12 Studios, this is News 12 Now.
Welcome to News 12 Now. We are so glad that you could join us this afternoon. My name is Robin Key, and it is August 14th, aka the first day of school for many kids across Texoma. Now, we are going to get to that a lot later. Our reporters have been going live all morning, but we have some pretty big news that happened yesterday and last night to get to, so I want to fill you all in on that first. Now, what I'm talking about is a woman who was arrested yesterday after allegedly barricading herself and a child into a Denison motel room. It happened at the Denison Inn on Aston Avenue. Police say that they were serving a warrant for a woman wanted on several charges, including robbery. Eyewitnesses say that they saw armed SWAT and police outside the room. It took about 3 hours for the officers to be able to get inside.
Lived here 60 years now. Never seen anything like this. Walked out my door, a few police officers right there knocking on the door next to me. Took my dog because all the police started showing up, and I thought, well, it's time to get out of here.
The woman surrendered to police, and the child was released to protective services. Now, you might have seen a large police presence yesterday in Sherman after a man forced his family outside their home at gunpoint. It happened just after 10 yesterday morning on Vietnam Veterans Parkway. Police say that 49-year-old Shannon Dean shot a gun at his son and then forced all of the family, including a young child, outside at gunpoint. After a brief standoff, Dean was arrested. And then at least one person was seriously injured in a wreck involving 5 semi-trucks outside Whitewright yesterday morning. One of the semi-trucks caught on fire on Highway 160. A person was flown to a Plano hospital, but is expected to recover from their injuries. Now, the lawsuit that was filed after the deadly shooting at the Allen Outlet Mall 2 years ago can finally move forward. It was filed by the families of 8 people who were killed and others who were injured in May 2023. They say lapses by the mall, its security, and the motel where the gunman stayed contributed to the shooting. The judge ruled that the case can move forward onto the trial. And a $1 million lawsuit has been filed in connection to the deadly flooding in Central Texas. The family of 22-year-old Jada Floyd is suing the HTR Texas Hill County Resort. She and her fiance were staying at the RV park and were swept away in the floods last month. The family alleges that the park operated the resort despite the known risk of flooding and failed to warn guests of the risk. Now, after years of battling, the city of Gunter is back on good terms with BNSF Railway. Years ago, old city leadership in Gunter asked BNSF to come to town without letting the residents know. That's why, when the people found out that BNSF had purchased almost 1,000 anchors alongside Preston Road, they spoke out, and the relationship went sour. But the saga turned to a new page when Karen Souther became mayor, and now the city and the rail giant are back on the same track.
They obviously didn't really know where we stood as a new administration, and so we started renegotiating. It was tough negotiations. Both sides had to give up, but we came to a good place. We feel like it's a win-win for both sides.
BNSF will build a rail distribution center of sorts, where companies can lease space to store items and send them out by train. Things could get rolling pretty soon. And then we have more information about the new hospital being built in Sherman. As a reminder, the Community Hospital Corporation announced a $400 million medical center in Sherman expected to open early 2028. The Heritage Regional Medical Center is a nonprofit hospital, meaning the money will be reinvested into the hospital to keep servicing the community. The hospital will be located within the Heritage Ranch Master Planned community near 82 and 1417. The CEO says in addition to Sherman residents, they will also aid everything south of Sherman up into Oklahoma. Ron Steele also says there's a need for a new hospital in this area and that he's happy to be a part of it.
Very substantial expansion for our area, substantial growth. And so there is a real need for health care here. And so I was asked, would you help us get a hospital going? And I said, absolutely, I'd be honored and love to make that happen.
They are set to break ground early 2026 and will be asking for input when construction gets underway. Dallas Cowboys owner Jerry Jones says that he's beaten stage 4 cancer and very few people knew about it. He made that revelation in an upcoming Netflix documentary on his team. Jones, who is now 82, says that he was diagnosed with myeloma in 2010 and underwent treatment throughout the decade. Jones says that he is now tumor-free, and then today, head coach Brian Scotchmeyer revealed that he overcame a battle with thyroid cancer in 2022. The creator of the hit TV shows Yellowstone, Landman, and Tulsa King has launched a new production campus in Fort Worth. Taylor Sheridan's SGS Studios is partnering with Paramount and Hollywood to run a film and TV hub. The building will have sound stages, post-production suites, and sets, enough to film 4 large-scale productions at once. A press release says that the largest operating studio in Texas will soon be in Fort Worth. The announcement comes just a few months after Texas lawmakers passed a bill meant to attract more film and TV production to the state. Now, we will be right back with the top headlines from your news across the nation, including an update on the UFC fight at the White House and the sale of conspiracy site InfoWars. After that, we'll be bringing it back to Texoma for our community corner, so do not swipe away. Welcome back. Now let's go over your top headlines across the nation. Alex Jones's far-right platform InfoWars will go up for sale again to help pay the more than $1 billion he owes to the families of the Sandy Hook shooting. Now Wednesday, a judge ordered InfoWars' parent company to be turned over to a court-appointed receiver who will sell its assets and use the proceeds to pay the debt. Jones was found liable in 2022 for defamation after repeatedly calling the 2012 massacre, which left 20 children and 6 adults dead, a hoax. He has yet to pay any of the damages. Now, former New Mexico Republican candidate has learned his fate for orchestrating and shootings at 4 Democratic officials' homes. On Wednesday, Solomon Pena was sentenced to 80 years in prison. Authorities said after Pena lost his race for a Senate seat in 2022, his race for a state house seat, not Senate, state house seat in 2022, he paid 4 men to carry out drive-by shootings at the homes of certain Democratic individuals, mostly officials, including a county commissioner and a state senator. Now, no one was hurt, but earlier this year, Pena was convicted of more than a dozen federal charges, including conspiracy, weapons-related charges, and interfering with federally protected activities. His attorney says that they plan to appeal. Also yesterday, a federal judge was looking over the Justice Department's lawsuit against all of Maryland's federal judges over an immigration order. Now, the order temporarily blocks the administration from deporting any immigrant detainee for 2 business days if that person had gone to court to challenge their removal. Now, the DOJ claims that the order interferes with President Trump's authority to enforce immigration law. Their lawyer representing the judges argued that the case should be thrown out because his clients enjoy judicial immunity from lawsuits like this one. The federal judge says that he would be ruling by Labor Day, but until then, the Maryland judge's order remains in effect. Now, a unique event is coming to Washington. President Donald Trump is preparing to host an Ultimate Fighting Championship event at the White House next year. That's right, the UFC will be coming to the White House. Now, UFC Chief Executive Dana White confirmed that all during an appearance on CBS's Mornings, which I know you guys were watching because you watch our morning cut-ins. Now, according to an anonymous White House staffer, the UFC fight is being scheduled for next July 4th. Now, an artificial intelligence search company called Perplexity has made an unsolicited bid to purchase Google Chrome's browser for $34.5 billion. Perplexity's AI search engine has been in competition with Google since 2022, but it just launched its own browser, Comet, a few months ago. The Perplexity surprise bid comes as Google awaits a court decision over a court ruling that found the company had violated antitrust laws. The Justice Department had proposed that Google sell its Chrome browser. However, the internet giant has promised to appeal that ruling. Now, do not go away. We still have lots to talk about back in Texoma land. Our community corner is up next, so don't exit out now. Welcome back. Now, earlier I promised that we would be talking about back to school. I also promised that we do have more non-back to school content later if that's just something that you're not perhaps currently related to. However, I would challenge that because I think that everybody is related when back to school starts. The traffic changes, your commute changes, when you should go to the grocery store changes. So sit tight and listen, because back to school continues today for several Texoma schools in Durant. Little Lions at Northwest Heights Elementary had some friendly faces greeting them as they arrived. Now, the Durant firefighters, officers from the police department, and sheriff's office lined up to welcome students back for the first day. Sergeant Nick Spencer shared some back to school road safety reminders as school buses hit the road again. So the school buses, they're going to have flashing lights on them anyway, but when you start to see those flashing red lights and the bus changes its speed and appears to slow and move to the right, be prepared for that stop sign to swing out. And that stop sign means you must stop in both directions. Like I said, going back to school affects everybody, so please make sure that you are being careful. In Oklahoma, on a divided highway with a raised median, vehicles traveling in the opposite direction should use caution when proceeding. And across the Red River in Denison, Lamar's Elementary newest principal, Rachel Fuller, spoke with News 12 about the building's new face following renovations funded by the $132,000 school bond that got passed 2 years ago. Now, she told our reporter that it was amazing what they were able to do and how they were able to transform the building and turn the old spaces into new things for the kids. Now, Fuller says the best way to leave your first day jitters at home is to make a routine and stick with it. Now, in Sherman, yesterday, they started up, and the first day started with welcoming faces. Longtime Sherman educators David and Paula Parker greeted students and parents at Parker Elementary School yesterday morning. The couple told us what they thought of the new school 5 months after seeing the construction.
And I use the word, it's beautiful.
So exciting to be here and greet the children this morning and meet their parents.
David was formerly a Sherman ISD principal, and Paula spent 21 years in education as a Dillingham intermediate teacher. Ada schools are also back in session, and the high schoolers were especially excited.
How fast it got here.
The class of 2026 showed up bright and early to the stadium to celebrate the first of many laughs.
Like, wow, that's so far
Senior
away.
Sunrise
and
proved
this
to
year
be a
I'm parking
bittersweet
in the
event
senior
for
lot,
many.
and it's just crazy.
Now, more Texoma schools are continuing to open. We won't be doing the same kind of coverage that we have been, but we will be making sure to keep you updated. A few other fun things that have just been happening around Texoma, and then some new information for you. New 911's communications officer is joining Durant and Bryan County Emergency Services. Audrey Baxter has a master's in criminal justice and over 20 years of expertise working in public safety. Another new, the City of Hugo has announced a new interim manager. Alan Reynolds was sworn into the position last week and was chosen for his 25 years of dedication to the city. Then a very special award for the staff of Ardmore's Veteran Cemetery got an award yesterday. The State of Seaman First Class Billy Turner Cemetery received the U.S. Department of Veteran Affairs National Cemetery Administration Stewardship Award in Ardmore. Congratulations to all of them for everything that they do for our veterans in Ardmore. Now, that is it for this News 12 Now. Make sure to join us here again on Monday. That's right, we will not have a show tomorrow. I'll be helping out with a few other shows, but that just means that you'll have to tune into them to get your news. How can you do that? Well, you can watch our noon, and later this afternoon or tomorrow, whichever, or both, watch our 4, 5, and 6 to stay updated with everything going on in Texoma land. Now, did you feel like any of this could have used a little bit of a deeper dive? Well, check out our website, KXII. There you'll find all of our articles and be able to just learn to your heart's content. Also, make sure that you're following our Facebook, Instagram, X, Threads, and TikTok. There you'll find exclusive content, constant updates, and our past stories. Like, for example, this week we've been posting lives and check-ins from our reporters as they have been out across Texoma reporting on back to school. So that's something that you would miss if you weren't following us on Instagram and Facebook. So make sure that you do that. Now, we will see you on Monday, Texoma. Make sure to tune back in.